ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Check this out, we got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week. Yes, the weekend is here. The Breakfast Bankroll. I'd say the weekend edition, but it's the Friday edition, the Freaky Friday edition, the Fade the Public Friday, whatever you want to call it. Hallelujah Friday. It's here with, of course, good friend, colleague, family member, Mr. Scotty Webb, live from Tampa, as we break down last night's NFL game. I know I did not have this on my bingo card. The New England Patriots, now 9-2. No winners of, 7 in a row? 8 in a row? Whatever that number is. My point is the best record in the NFL, meaning the first one to 9 here. And the joy that I'm getting, and I'm going to compound this, I'm going to wait to really dig into it with Scotty. Just Mike Vrabel, you see him hugging it out with every one of the players, the joy, the smiling. Yes, winning is contagious. It's easy to do this on such a winning streak. How do you react with the losses and the hard times? Well, we'll find out at some point. But my point is how he turned around back-to-back 4-13 seasons in just 8 games? It's just mind-boggling. But I know they played the Jets. I get that, guys. Amazing how the final closing number, 13 and a hook, it lands on 13. I think the under-over was 42 or 42 and a half. It lands on 41. How did they do that? But anyways, first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber, Holly, Carol, Bucks, Matt, Allen, Jared. The list is endless. Just come on, enjoy the rest of 2025, and then just get ready for 26. It's going to be epic. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Terry Smith does wonders. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wines. He does it all. The holiday season is upon us. Let Terry take care of your menu. Just give him a holler if you want. Hey, I'm looking for 20 people. What do you suggest? Or just go to the website, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. So without further ado, let's bring him on. Mr. Scotty Webb. What's up, chap?
Hey, man. I think that game went a little bit like what it was supposed to. I was a little surprised that the Jets went down the field the first time they had the ball and scored. That was a little bit surprising to me because I don't think they've done that all year. But they don't have anything. They don't have anything to have. They don't have firepower. And looking at the stats in this game, the quarterback the quarterback's QBR in that game was 36.2. You're not going to win many football games in the NFL if your quarterback's no good. So, I think it's just one of those things where, in the NFL, your quarterback plays bigger than in any other sport. You can talk about a starting pitcher being dominant and all that stuff in Major League Baseball. But the reality is if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you're not going to win.
And I'm having flashbacks because early re-entry Monday, the locals talked about the Bucks did the same thing. They came right down and scored, and they're playing back the Patriots tapes, and it's almost like they've allowed the opponent to score early, and then they take that blueprint and they do all their adjustments. There was no fear of Justin Fields. Now, last time Justin Fields was in Foxborough, I think it was a Thursday night, and he was playing for the Bears. The Patriots were like 9-point favorites, and I think he had one of those career days. He has family in Massachusetts, so I know he's from the Atlanta area, but he has family there. So he did have a big game. But, you never felt like the Patriots were in trouble. Drake May was very good. Again, the efficiency is what really stands out. Trevion Henderson, 5 touchdowns now the last 2 games. Now, the addition of Ramondre probably in 10 days gives him that 1-2 punch there. Defense played solid. It's the Patriots. How did they word it? Everything's turning up Patriots. And again, it just, as I said in the intro, Scott, the joy that I'm getting is the joy that Vrabel is showing. We knew he was a good coach. He loves the game. He loves to coach. He played here. He played under Belichick. He's won Super Bowls. Yet to come into a historic franchise, 6 Super Bowl rings, 2 decades of dominance, but it was crushed. It was crushed with Bill destroying it the last couple of years. Then the Gerard Mayo project, 4-13 the last couple of years. A franchise quarterback looking for some leadership. And Jesus, in what, 11 games here they are with the best record in the NFL.
Well, I think what's interesting in the way you put it, there's a little different dynamic on that team in a sense that Vrabel's been there, done that as a player. He's been there, done it. He's been in playoff games as a coach. But what I think that he's taking a lot of fun in is going back to New England where he was, made his mark as a player. But realizing that he's older now, he's not just fresh out of playing and stuff. He's been a coach now. He's a second team. Maybe it's his 3rd team already. I don't know. Anyway, I think what he's getting a lot of satisfaction out of, and I watched him interview on TV last night, and he said, what's great? He said, my offensive line, they're 21 and 22-year-olds. They've never been through this at all before. So everything we're doing is all new to them, and it's not new to me. And he's like, this is the greatest experience. It's like he's a dad watching his players do good things, and then he gets to go up and do what dads do and celebrate their son's greatest accomplishments. And I think that's kind of what's really cool about the whole thing. And I also think that's why those players, kids, if you want to call them that, bond to him, is because that's kind of what he's doing. He's like, look, this is great. I'm dad. And sometimes dad has to come down with a heavy hand, but most of the time it's going to be, this is great shit. Let's go do stuff we ain't never done before. That's all well and good until they really start having to, play a lot more meaningful games. Now, these are meaningful games. Don't get me wrong, but I mean meaningful in terms of who they play. And I don't want to discredit them because you play who's on your schedule. That's what you do. It's It's like I heard somebody the other day talking about Ohio State being the most unchallenged, I don't know who they are, number one team in college football because they haven't played a tough game yet. Well, part of the reason they haven't played a tough game is because Ohio State's better than everybody else. So, um, part of what's going on in New England is their schedule sets up that they're better than all them teams. Now, when they get to play the teams that are as good as they are, that's when the competition really starts to happen, and that's when I don't know if dad mentality really works. So we'll see how all that really plays out as it gets down. But I think it's a great story. I love it. Um, I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. I've been in South Florida now for 25 years, longer than I was in Columbus. So um, I always follow Ohio State. I love the idea that Travion Henderson is doing a great job for New England. I think he was a great back at Ohio State. I think he's doing a good job for New England. I think the injury allowed him to get a lot more playing time than he had been, and I think he's shown his worth. So I love it. I love all about what's going on in New England, and I love the way they're doing it. And you don't have this aura of it's Bill Belichick that does all this stuff, right? It's none of that. This is all about the players, and I think that's a good thing. I really do.
Spot on there too. The difference, it was always Bill and the system. It was plug and play. It was next man up, never giving credit to the team, because it was always that battle. Is it Bill? Is it Tom? Is it Tom? Is it Bill? The chicken and the egg theory. But Bill is always the one flaunting the rings in front of your face, bow down. And Vrabel has just turned it around. It's all about the players. And I love that what you said about the dad mentality. That's how I was coaching. Every one of those kids were my son. And everyone had their own little quirkiness, but you treated them with kid gloves. Hey, when you did something great job. Let's get ready for the next play. When you did something wrong, pick your head up and be ready for the next play. And this is what he has done. Patriots 9-2. And when I say everything is turning up Patriots this year, Sunday at the Bengals, next Sunday, I think I've seen a look ahead. Pats -5.5. Joe Burrow will not be playing. It could be Flacco's last game. I think Flacco will play on Turkey Day, but we'll get to that one, of course. Then they got a Monday night game at home against the Giants. They'll be 8-9 point favorites against the Giants. Okay? Then they get their bye week final. So again, not putting the cart before the horse because they can get picked off in Cincinnati. Don't forget, they won opening day in there with Jacoby Brissett last year. A little revenge spot for Cincy. But there is the chance that they're 11-2 going into the bye week. After the bye week, they host the Bills. And at this point today, right now, the Patriots, in my eyes, will be short favorites, 1.5 point favorites at home against the Bills. Good revenge spot there. Then they travel to Baltimore, which again, they'll be dogs there. So they're dogs. They were dogs at Buffalo earlier in the year. They beat them. They were just dogs in Tampa, 2.5 point favorites. They beat them. The next time they'll be a dog potentially is at home against the Bills on the 14th, or they'll definitely be dogs unless Lamar's out again at Baltimore on the 21st. Even if they happen to lose those two games, reset at the Jets, and they end against Miami. So the stage is, let's just say for poops and giggles, they win the next two, they get to 11-2, and I'll play devil's advocate. They lose those next two, they're 11-4, they win the last two. There's a good possibility they're 13-4, Scotty.
Yeah, there's no question. Like we talked about it the other day. I think there's a very good likelihood they're the number one seed in the AFC. Very, very good. And that plays because you don't want to go travel to Baltimore. You don't want to go travel to other, Kansas City and stuff. You want them coming to you, and playing your playoff games at home. So I think that plays well for them. And I think that's going to set them up in the best possible way going into the playoffs that they could be. They're in the playoffs. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way they're not. So I think that we'll just see what happens when they got to start playing some of these other teams. It's like Denver, right? Denver's played a little bit probably tougher schedule, but at the same time, they don't seem to have the offense that New England does. New England maybe doesn't quite have the same type of defense that Denver does, but at the same time, when you're going to go start playing these playoff games, you need to score some points. And I would rather take New England's offense with the ability to score points than take Denver's defense that says, "Oh, we're going to shut you down," when they can't always shut everybody down, especially in the playoffs. So I think there's a good fighting chance for New England to do all kinds of stuff. So would I bet them to win the Super Bowl? No, but at the same time, I think that it's fun. I think it's a great scenario. I think next year is going to be a year of they need to bring some people in there to help because they're going to play a really tough schedule or a tougher schedule. I don't know about really tough. They'll play a tougher schedule. I mean, you play in that division with the Jets and the Dolphins and stuff. I mean, hey, they don't play anybody.
No, and the difference this year, again, with the way it's set up right now, is those marquee teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, actually, who are always hosting these playoff teams. And you got to go through Kansas City, you got to go through Baltimore, or you got to go through Buffalo. Currently, will be those wild card teams and traveling. So if you don't get the 1 seed, let's just say Indy or Denver ends up with the 1 seed and the Pats end up with the 2 or the 3 seed, you could be hosting a playoff game. You could be but you could be staring again at Patrick Mahomes. You could be staring at Josh Allen, or you could be staring at Lamar. So back in the glory days, it was simple, and it was. I love how they put this. The Patriots had one meaningful game, and this is why. They would win the division with their eyes closed. They would be the number 1 seed. They would get the bye week. Then we called it the tomato can game. They'd be double-digit favorites over someone, and they'd beat them by 30. And then they would be hosting that one game to get to the Super Bowl. And it's kind of setting up in year number 1 where, listen, no one had them at 9-2, best record in the NFL currently. No one had them winning the division either. I don't even think Mike Vrabel had them winning the division. Okay, so the point is making the playoffs and then ever hosting a playoff game, even if they lose. It's been a success. The culture's changed, and the future has never been more promising at this point.
Well, the best part is that there's positivity around the team, which then entices free agents wanting to go there. I mean, they want to go play coaches like this, and they want to go play in cultures like this. So, they could certainly get some help, whatever that help looks like, whatever they need. So I think it's a great story. I think it's one of the best things in the NFL this year. People are going to talk about Indianapolis the same way, I suppose. But I don't know, you don't see that fatherly figure kind of thing in Steichen or whatever. But I think it's really a good story. It's a really good way to have it go, and I think it's really cool.
Last night, 2 games in the college football. NIU beats UMass 45-3.
There's only one last night. It was ODU.
ODU, excuse me. That was the night before. Troy and ODU, 33-0. Under comes in. ODU covers. You were talking to PB via tweets and stuff. Your eyes were spot on. ODU just defensively was too much for Troy.
Yeah. So let me just say this to everybody that watches. I ask for questions, and I know it's 9:00 in the morning, so maybe people aren't up and watching and they don't have questions. I get that. Well, PB's been asking a couple questions after the show and on Twitter to me, and I try to help. And sometimes, he words things in a way that says, "Hey, I'm thinking about this." Well, I take that as to mean, well, help me out with this play, right? I gave him some advice yesterday, and one of the things that my AI computer pulled up when I went back and reviewed that game, because I did that game. I've done like the games from Tuesday to Friday. I almost do every game just because there's so little games. And then so I have all the information. I have everything that I wanted from that. But it said, hey, look, ODU is going to win this game. They're going to cover the spread, but they're also going to be in a spot where Troy offensive line gives up 2.8 sacks per game, and ODU is a 38% blitz team. They're going to put a lot of pressure on that quarterback, and it's not going to go well for Troy. So they said, my computer program spits the stuff out at me, and it goes, hey, look, this game's not going to go over the number either because Troy's not going to live up to their end. Well, there you go. It was, I think, a 30-0 or something like that. So, and if you look at the box score, there were at one time in that game, ODU had 7 sacks in the game. And I don't know if they ended with 7, maybe they had 8. I don't know, but it was one of those things that, look, if I guess I gotta say this the right way, if you can use a computer to help you, if you give it the right information to help you get the story you want. So I'm learning how that works, and so far it's been pretty good. If I go look, let's see. So far this year, my number, I'm 41, 26, and 1 in college football. That's not a bad number. And what I mean by that's not a bad number is I would put that number against anybody, and I mean anybody. You can go look at the guys that are in the circuit contest and all the other stuff that these guys, the Bear and all these guys. That number is better than most of those guys' number. It is. It just statistically is better. And I'm not saying I'm the best guy in the world. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying, and then I just found this guy on Twitter that's posting these things about VSiN. He's an ex-employee of VSiN. So he's slamming them everywhere he can slam them, right? So he's talking about, Paul Stone, and his last 2 or 3 years of doing these shows and being on and doing, tout service stuff. Paul Stone's like 12-20. He's terrible. Look, guys, how do I say this the right way without becoming like an egomaniac? Look, I've had my bad years. I've had different things. I've tried a lot of stuff. But one of the things I want to tell people is there's a right way and a wrong way to do a lot of stuff, right? I'm here to help you. If you don't want my help, that's all well and good too. But I feel like as a resource in doing the things that I'm doing, I'm not charging anybody nothing. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to do anything that I can to make you a better investor in markets. And I say that in a different way because Jeff's probably more of the market guy than I am. I do care where the market goes, but way less than what Jeff does. So when people talk about a lot of stuff, I just look at there's a meme on, not a meme, but I watch a lot of videos, and one of the videos is from one of those wager talk guys, the old baldy guy. Forget what his name is.
Marco D'Angelo.
And he's like, it's a 13, 14-minute video of beware of these sandwich games. Okay, let me just tell you people something. If you believe in sandwich games, you're doing it wrong. There is no such thing as all this stuff. If you get involved in all this stuff, you're going to get tied into missing the whole value of why you would make a bet in the first place. For example, we just talked about it. There's one big stat from last night's game. If one team gives up 3 sacks a game and the other team blitzes all the time and they can't protect the quarterback, they're not going to win. So bet on the team that's going to blitz the quarterback all the time, and you're going to do just fine. And I think that a lot of times that gets lost in all this nonsense of look ahead games, all this other stuff. Now, I will say this. I get an email from Sam Poyanovich, and he sent me an email last night. And because of his email, I made a play today. Um, and it wasn't a game that I had run through because I didn't have as much interest in it. And this game was Florida and Mississippi. And I watched the numbers, and you watched the numbers. So this game opened. I think the opening number on this game, if I can go back to it, the opening number on this game was was 13 and a half. That was the opening number for Mississippi. On Monday, that game was 16 and a half on Monday. And I'm like, holy shit, look at this. 16 and a half. Guess what it is now? Right now it's 11 and a half. So he sent me an email explaining all that. And hello, there we go. I think I'm good. I thought I was muted for a second. So anyway, what's great about the email was, hey, look, rumors came out on Monday that Florida gave up. They had several kids in their program say, hey, look, I'm not playing. I want transfers out. I'm doing all this stuff. The head coach is fired. They just got beaten by like 37 to something to 10 or 37 to 7 or something to Kentucky. So that's where all the money came in. And then some of the guys that, are in the business out there go, hey, we're getting good prices. Let's go buy prices. So they go buy the prices back down. So I run it through the computer this morning, and I tell the computer, hey, look, this is exactly what I said. I take the information. So I take the information that I get from Games on Paper, and I copy and paste it in, and I go, hey, look, here's this line opened at 11 and a half, or opened at 13 and a half, went to 16 and a half, came back to 11 and a half. That was based on the rumors of Florida throwing in the towel. Now it's back to 11 and a half. I got this email from Sam Poyanovich. I tell the computer this. And then I go, I want the most complete analysis, best analysis that you can possibly give me based off of what I gave you, plus anything else that you may think is relevant. I don't want it to go pull up yards, rushing yards. I don't give a shit about that. So I want it to give me the information based on what I tell it. So then it comes back, and it gave me so many things about these rumors and so many things about how this works and what was going on and sort of the best way to play this game. And the prediction comes out 38 to 13. Is that what it was? Let me see. 34 to 13. Mississippi's going to win this game. And I'm going, I can get it minus 11 and a half at plus 102. I'm jumping all over that. So I got a bet to add to my list or whatever today. I bet Mississippi minus 11 and a half against Florida at home today. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there are things that are bettable, and then there are things that are stupid. There are things that are fallacy. There are things that, all these old school guys get involved in. And if you really knew what their records were, you would go, I don't even want to listen to them. And that includes Bill Krackomberger. I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm just telling you, his numbers aren't any good either. So like, all you guys want to win and all of that stuff. And, it's easy for me to sit here and tell you that as I'm winning. But the point I'm trying to make is be careful what you really listen to. Be careful what you take in as advice and as good betting information, because most of it really isn't. Most of it is stuff you just throw away and go, what the hell ever, and go on about your life. And you would do better if you would go to your wife or girlfriend and go, hey, these are the plays that Paul Stone gave me. These are the things I'm thinking. Paul Stone's been around this thing for a long time. I'm thinking I'm going to bet those games. And she goes, I trust in you better than I trust in Paul Stone. And you bet your own plays, you do better. I guarantee you would do better than listening to those yahoos.
Big stage, bright lights, getting paid. Sometimes you get sloppy. Just leave that right there on that
Oh,
one.
the guy that was that was on Twitter that I saw that was talking bad about at VSiN. He says those tout guys are getting on there paying VSiN some money for them to get on there, so for a little bit of airtime. Like they don't use Adam Chernoff no more because Adam's picks last year weren't any good. So they kind of cut him off and say we don't want your information anymore. So now they're sitting there going, well, when's Paul Stone's turn for him to be tossed out? And then he was saying that those guys are actually paying VSiN some sort of amount of money so that they get their little time in the sun, I guess, on their network.
This week, Scotty's in pocket plays USC -6.5, Utah -7, under 46, Oklahoma, Alabama. Excuse me. Under 41.5, Michigan, Northwestern. Under 41.5, Boise State, San Diego State. He added Ole Miss -11 and a hook against Florida. Game on paper is back up, Scotty. What game would you like to break down for everyone watching?
It doesn't matter. We can do. Let's do the Oklahoma Alabama game just because I think a lot of people might be liking that game or want to see something about that game. Now I just gotta find it. What time is that game? Oklahoma Alabama. There we go. And when you pull up that game, you see. Now I got to go to my AI stuff, but when you pull up that game, you're going to see a lot of green, right? You're gonna see a lot of green. This is where am I at? This is Texas, Georgia, Yukon. So it's got to be right in here. Arizona. That's not it. Cincinnati. That was another interesting game. Here we go. Georgia Tech. And I do too many of these games. They're all in one thread so that I can go back and pull the information, and then you just got to find it in the thread so that I can get it all out for you guys. Notre Dame. Oklahoma, here we go. That's the game we're looking for. So here's what gets me started when I look at these games. So I've said this before, but I have a spreadsheet, and on the spreadsheet, I look at yards per point margin, and and that's really what sets me to go and say, hey, I want to go look at this game in deeper detail. So in this particular game, though, they're kind of the same. So strength of schedule here was Oklahoma 14, Alabama's number 1. Yards per point margin is Oklahoma plus 5.2, Alabama plus 5.3. Turnover margin is way an advantage to Alabama plus 1.2. Oklahoma's minus 0.4. And QBR, the Alabama quarterback is 13th. And the Oklahoma quarterback is 41. So I do the same thing. I give it that information. I give it I clip what we're looking at right here on Games on Paper. And then I go and say, please give me you're using the data provided and any other data you feel is necessary. Give me your best and most complete analysis, because it'll take this and tell you a lot about stuff. So one of the things I think when you come down and you start to look at it, um, the weather plays into different things and stuff, but not in this particular game. Um, so when you look at EPA, they're about the same, but Alabama's a little bit better. They're 9th to 16th. Offensive EPA, there's no question. Alabama is way better on offense than Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 87th. They're a middling team on offense, and Alabama's fourth. Of course, defensively for Oklahoma, they're 16th, but Alabama's 25th. So here's so I use that terminology a lot, where I give you the rank instead of what the actual data is. So let me give you the data for just a second. The offensive EPA for Oklahoma is minus, and you can get this in the second column on the left there where Oklahoma is. And it says offense EPA, it says 87th minus 0.3. Okay. Minus 0.3. All right. So that's not good when you consider on offense, you're trying to gain yards, and this is showing negative. Now, it's not negative yards because it's not even at one yet, but you don't want to be negative anything when you're trying to produce offense. And then when you look at on the other side of the ledger, Alabama on defense, they're negative 0.6. Well, that tells you, even though that it's 25th versus 87 in terms of rank, it really means that their defense is way more dominant because they're going to stop most offenses on a negative basis, and the offense for Oklahoma is already negative. So that pushes that back even more. So that's a huge deal in this game when you start to think about what's going on with Oklahoma's offense. Now, the vice versa of that is offense for Alabama is 0.13 positive. That's what you're looking for, 0.13 positive. But look at the defense for Oklahoma. They're minus 0.18. That wipes that out. So I think that you've got two teams that are going to be really struggling to move the football, because offensively for Oklahoma, they're not very sound and very good, and Alabama's defense can stop them. And then vice versa, Alabama's offense is pretty good, but defensively for Oklahoma, they're going to stop them. So that throws off flags in my head going, if they can't score, if they can't move the ball, they can't score. So then you start to look down and look at like success rate, right? So success rate for Alabama on offense, rushing the football, 128. Well, that's not very good. And if you look at the defensive success rate for Oklahoma, they rank number one in the country, 7 on pass, 1 on rush. What does that mean? That means they prevent first downs. That means Alabama's going to struggle to get first downs on a repetitive basis. So that matches up to the EPA problem. So there's another problem with trying to move the football. And then offensively, success rate for Oklahoma, they're middling teams, 69-70 against the defense that's pretty good for Alabama. Again, these teams are going to go and have problems getting first downs. And you can also see some of that shows up when you look at Oklahoma, where it says defense, offense in the middle at the bottom on the left there. You go down, it says third down success for OU's defense. They rank 10th. Third down average distance, they rank 3rd. So that means Alabama's going to have a lot of third and longs and not be able to get first downs. And similarly, it's the same way on the other side. If you look up just a little bit, the defense for Alabama shows the same thing. So it's showing me that just based on these breakdowns that way, this is going to be a struggle to move the ball. So the key insight is OU's defense is elite, but offense struggles. Bama's passing game is top 10, and OU's pass success allowed is really good. So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be hard. And then when you start to break it down, I guess the best way. So the score prediction came out 27-20 Alabama. It says Bama grinds with a couple touchdowns passing, one maybe rushing. They forced a couple turnovers, which is the problem with OU here. And OU stalls in the red zone, kicks a lot of field goals to try to get it to where to go. So it's saying, hey, look, 74% of the simulations based off of this that it runs, 70 we're under 48. And we're looking at this game as, what is it? The total was 46 in this game. So, but it was also saying, hey, it might be one of these spots where you want to take OU plus the 7 too. But the better bet was the under. So in summary, Alabama wins at home. It's got an elite defense for OU, keeps them within a touchdown, maybe within a field goal. But the under's the sharpest side, looking at like a 24-17, 27-20 kind of number. And I bet the game under because it made sense to me. And it also makes sense to me too. Sometimes, these models and the things are inefficient at a point in which it always gives credit for points because I think people want to see points. It's like yesterday, the model that I ran for that game, for that OU game, ODU game, it came back with, where was it? ODU 31-17. Well, it was 30-0. So it doesn't predict nothing. So I think it gives people credit for doing certain things. So sometimes you might see a little bit of this or a little bit of that, but I do like that game under. But that's a pretty detailed breakdown. I don't know what else to tell you. Like it tells you that they're going to struggle on third downs, to struggle to keep first downs. Turnovers are going to be a problem maybe for OU. But both defenses should dominate this game. And if the defenses dominate games, scoring points is going to be difficult. So naturally, you want to look at unders in these spots. So that's what I did. I bet the under. Now, I will say, one of the ones I added yesterday was that USC game in under against Iowa. It's 48.5. I got it at 49.5. Just remember, there's going to be bad weather out west this week that doesn't normally happen that way. So I think those are bettable things. When you have things that go on as a natural to a team, they turn the ball over all the time. They're going to keep doing that. I mean, that's what they do. So if that's what they do, I predict that that's what's going to happen. And if OU turns the ball over, well, that's going to help Alabama, isn't it? So you just got to be careful on a lot of stuff when it comes to that.
Again, Scotty's in pocket place. USC -6.5, Utah -7, under 46, Oklahoma, Alabama, under 41.5, Michigan, Northwestern, and under 41.5, Boise State, San Diego State. Before we wrap up another week in the books here, Scotty, I had to ask you this. We're both diehard baseball fans, and the hard part for me is just sitting here reading how the Red Sox are going to go out and sign Schwarber. They're going to go out and trade for, Joe Ryan, and they're going to add Alonso. It's just all PR. It's all BS. Whatever happens, happens. But yesterday, the MVP in the American League was announced. Aaron Judge wins again, back to back. And back in the day, it was Mike Trout's award, where Mike Trout would be even money and everyone else after that would be 8, 9, 12, 20, 30 to 1, because as long as Mike stayed healthy, you weren't beating him. It was just the way it was. And again, they're just personal individual awards. I am not discrediting what Judge did this year, because I remember all our shows, all our fan graphs that you would talk about his numbers, and every alphabet soup you would give me. He was 1 or 2 throughout. But what Cal Riley did, 159 games he played, by the way, as a catcher, you would know something like that. And the historic home runs, the fact that Seattle got within a whisker of getting to the World Series, you know, and it was a close race, but Judge got it, I think, because of the name Judge. Again, individual awards, it is what it is, but you know how these players are. They probably have in their contracts, hey, if I win the MVP, if I finish second or third, yada, yada, yada. Thoughts on Judge winning the MVP, Scotty?
Well, I may not make anybody happy by what I'm going to say, but when I look at an offensive player or a fielder or a guy in the outfield, you know, a lot of these metrics that are out there really affect certain guys in certain ways. So what I mean by that is there's a metric called WAR, wins above replacement. And what if I told you, Jeff, that Cal Raleigh defensive WAR 16.3 positive? That's pretty good. Bobby Witt Jr. 23.2 defensive WAR positive. Aaron Judge negative 3.8. So okay. Those two other guys are getting dominant credit in a WAR category for the defense that they have. So let's flip the script for a second. If they're so dominant defensively, how did Aaron Judge win? Aaron Judge offensive WAR 79.5. Cal Raleigh, you would have thought, okay, well, shit, he hit 60 home runs. Offensive WAR 48. So what does that mean? That means that really the offensive player that Judge is almost twice as good as what Cal Raleigh is. That's what it means. Bobby Witt Jr., 31.5 offensive WAR. So I think when you start to go and say, well, what is an MVP? Well, an MVP is the guy that means everything to how they score runs and what they're doing, right? And if you're so good defensively that you can save the opponent, somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 runs, that's never going to happen, because offensive players can produce that. Your defensive guys are never going to save that amount. The highest amount of defensive runs saved, if I just go look at defensive runs saved, not that that's the end-all, be-all, defensive runs saved, Stephen Kwan saved 22 runs. That's the most of any player. And Cedar Rafaela saved 20. Those are the two best. Okay, well, are they MVPs? No, they're not MVPs because they don't do it on the offense. So I think where I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you're going to relate this stuff, you got to look at it this way. So Aaron Judge had 53 home runs, 7 less than Cal Raleigh, and he played less games than Cal Raleigh, obviously, because he was hurt there for a little bit, and you know what, he almost needed Tommy John in his arm or what. I don't remember. It was something with his elbow or something. I don't remember, but something like that. He scored 137 runs. Cal Raleigh scored 110. Okay, well, runs are way more. I don't know how to say this. So runs are significantly important in baseball, but they're also a little bit team oriented, right? You can't score a run unless your guys drive you in, but you also can't score a run unless you're on base. So what's the on base percentage for Cal Raleigh? 359. I don't even know if that's average. That's pretty probably relatively close to average, 359. You know what Aaron Judge's was? 457. Slugging percentage, Aaron Judge, 688, Cal Raleigh, 589. Weighted on base percentage, that's a big one. 463 for Aaron Judge and 392 for Cal Raleigh. Um, weighted runs created plus, that's another sort of one of these things where you look, and I look at that measurement a lot. But weighted runs created plus for Aaron Judge, 204, for Cal Raleigh, 161. So I get what everybody wants to talk to you about with Cal Raleigh, and it was a great story, and he's a catcher and all that stuff. He didn't outplay Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge outplayed Cal Raleigh. Now, having said all of those things, I still think it's a great story. I love what Cal Raleigh did. Cal Raleigh ranks second in all of baseball. So Cal Raleigh ranks ahead of Shohei Ohtani, for example, right? Here's a guy that probably nobody even thinks is going to be on this list. The number 5 guy is Geraldo Perdomo from Arizona. He was the 5th best player in baseball last year. Geraldo Perdomo. He was the 7.1 WAR guy. Now, I say all that, but the better way to do this is if you clicked and sorted these by offensive WAR, that's where you're going to find their better players. You got Judge number 1, Ohtani, Juan Soto, George Springer, Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber, Corbin Carroll, Perdomo, Jose Ramirez, and Byron Buxton. That sounds like an all-star. That sounds like the right list. You know what I mean? That sounds like that's the right guys that are driving in, doing all the stuff you need them to do. So when you're looking at numbers, I shouldn't even say that. Some people probably don't look at numbers, but when you're kind of grading these guys out, there's so much data now that you can really get exactly what you're looking for, and you can kind of grade it and go, well, I get it. Aaron Judge was bad. Just is what it is.
No, I love the way you broke it down. Again, I guess more the story. Cal Raleigh comes onto the scene, the big thumper, whatever you want to call him. The 60 homers. And Seattle had a great year. Yankees fall to the eventual runner-up with the Jays. Back to back. It's almost like again, the thought process of. We know Tyreek Skubal is awesome. We know he had a great year. But the voting and the dominance and the first place votes on Skubal versus Crochet,
I think he got that? I think he got that because, and I'll be 100% honest, I think he got that because he had a better start to the season and was kind of hyped up before Crochet. And then Crochet started pitching really good and got dominant towards the middle and end. And to be honest, at the end, I would have taken Crochet over Skubal. I would have had Crochet pitching those games that were very more meaningful. But at the same time, I think, he got a little bit of a lead. And, once you get a lead and your name is Skubal and you won it before, it's kind of hard to pass him, I guess. I don't know.
So, anyways, another week in the books for myself and Scotty. We'll be back on Monday for Reentry Monday to recap what we saw in college football and the NFL. We'll keep our eyes and ears on the MLB hot stove. I'll be a guest with Andrew McGinnis in about 10 minutes at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk. the 11 a.m. show with Nick Hathcote. Nick will not be here today. Nick had a conflict in his schedule, so we will be dark there. Working on some stuff in the afternoon. I might pop back, but till then, I want to thank everyone watching and listening. I want to thank PB for all he does for our show. If you haven't already, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investor. Subscribe, it's free. We're pushing for 12,000 there. Come on back, follow me at EC Sports Investor, and of course Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. And just an FYI, people, as we wrap up our 10th year of public service, January 1st, 2026, we're hoping to launch something very special. We're hoping to really be a separator. Got some great news in the last couple days, some confirmation yesterday with some the return of boy genius, I like to call him. Just I'll just leave that one there. Came out of nowhere to circle back, and so gave me some hope. As you guys know, I am not a tech wizard. I'm a numbers guy. I read the market, so I know how to navigate all my big screens, all my websites, yada yada yada. But ask me to do something tech in today's world, forget about it. So, but keep your eyes and ears peeled. We're going to do some soft launches in mid to late December, but we got some game changers coming January 1st, God willing, 2026. So again, for myself, Jeff Dawson, EC Sports Invest, the one and only Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. Wish everyone a blessed day. The weekend's here, guys. Stay in your lanes. People back east, bundle up. It's going to be a cold one. Stay tuned.